Hey there, everybody. Real quick, a little worried that the stream's not running stable. I'm getting conflicting reports from YouTube who says it's not, and then it says it's fine. So I don't know what the heck's going on, but I think it's all good. I'm gonna set this to 40. Boom. A little bit of a brighter desktop. Oh, I never fixed the laptop. Well, I'm gonna go back to the intro hold screen for a second. I'll be right back. There, I fixed it. Where do I normally sit for these things? Anyway, a little bit of a clumsy intro today. Usually I try and do it a little bit better than that, but I moved my whole office. As you can see, the fish tank is finally gone. I moved it over here versus over there, and I cleaned up a little bit. So let's see if I can just show it. They're over there. They're doing great. For the one guy who cares, Filaroni. Here, let's see how they're doing in there. I can't really pan down. They're a little freaked out in there. You can see them swimming around. They're like, why did he move us? Why is our water configuration somewhat different? Whoa. Oh my goodness. Nobody wants to see me that close. And overall, I think it does give it a little bit of a different look. The office. I like it. And I know I'm super late today to getting the stream started. It has been a little bit of a crazy day. The 1-year-old just didn't want to take his nap today, and just a little bit crazy. A little bit of an unorthodox day, and he turned off one of my lights. I'll be right back. Oh yeah. Okay. So the stream's looking good. And then also like the stream wasn't going right. We have a lot to talk about today. Which not great thing, I guess, depending how you look at it, do you want to start with? Do we start with the astronomical pricing structure of the PlayStation 5 Pro, or do we start with Microsoft laying off 650 more people? I actually haven't read a lot of the news, but the talk of the town has been the PlayStation 5 Pro and how there's no way you could build a PC. Like there's been this really weird, in my opinion, back and forth about the PlayStation 5 Pro versus a PC. And it's true. You could build a PC for about $950, even with the 4070 in it, even though if FSR 4 is released, which, that's something that's been discussed in the news, AMD plans for FSR 4 to be fully AI based, designed to improve quality and maximize power efficiency. And then that would allow the Radeon cards to be utilized with a PC build. There's a lot of nuance to the whole conversation about making the upgrade. And I don't think anybody is particularly trying to say, like, I know I'm not trying to say that that the PS5 Pro is bad. I think the presentation is bad. I understand the value proposition to like hardcore PlayStation fans. Obviously, that's not going to be everybody on the docket. It does make the console just seem like a little bit of an odd investment, especially if you already have the PlayStation 5. And I say that because I don't think that they did a good job of explaining the value proposition of the PlayStation 5 Pro. I made the main video I made this week, and you can tell I've been spending a little bit more time on the videos, but making fewer of them. And it's just because, life's been crazy, but I'm still trying to get those out as regular as I can. I do think that people have been appreciating that format because views have been higher. So like when I actually think about what I'm going to say and I at least write out a basic script. So like we did the PS5 Pro reveal was a failure. Here's how to fix it. That one did 55,000 views. Just my reaction video did 48,000 views. And then what was the other big one? We talked about Concord. That was 20K, which was just a stream clip out, I think. And then of course the Black Myth one was the first like scripted format that I did. That was 138,000. And I've been pretty happy with those. So I hope you've been liking sort of that style. But getting back to the PlayStation 5 Pro, I think there are interesting things about it. And the fact that it is $700 worth of tech crammed into a box that you can just buy and then play. I think that's interesting to like the people who really want those super minor details. The problem with it is, and Richard Ledbetter, the one thing that he brought up in the conversation on IGN is there's more nuance to that. Like as a consumer, you have this massive PlayStation library. Here's the tweet. I was going to discuss it. The value argumently, like he was very clear. If you ignore RT performance, which we don't actually know how good it's going to be, you can get similar performance around $800 to $900. Actually better because the CPU would be much stronger. And Richard chimed in and said, the value argument certainly shifts in other territories where the PlayStation 5 Pro is proportionally more expensive, but ultimately this is a device for hardcore enthusiast PlayStation owners, and their game libraries will not run out of the box on any PC you build at any price point. And that's the problem today. Now, if you're an Xbox owner, you don't have that problem. All of the games that are coming to Xbox also come to PC. So if you build a PC, you are good to go. So instead of getting a mid-gen refresh for Xbox, just build a PC, right? And we did PC Part Picker. Alex, also from Digital Foundry, chimed in. He said, like, look, I'm pricing this around $940. Somebody made a build that had the Radeon card in it that gets you in around $800. And let's be honest, people who are enthusiasts, they're probably buying the discs. They probably don't have all of their games digital, which means you're really looking at closer to $800 United States dollars for the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I'm a tech guy, right? I think that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be super interesting for a guy like me that is going to go in. I'm going to do the pixel counts and try and figure out like what native resolution is this running at? What native resolution is that running at? Versus somebody who maybe doesn't care about that sort of stuff. But I really, really love looking at the improvements and showcasing them in a way on IGN that makes sense to an average user. I make no claims to be some sort of PC expert. I think I'm probably like slightly above average with my PC knowledge. I think I understand how to do capture properly, something that I think a lot of people mess up both professionally and online. I'm very confident in my abilities to capture things correctly. And one of the mistakes PlayStation made with their presentation is they had compressed the file, and then I believe what happened was they uploaded the compressed version, which got compressed again by YouTube, because on IGN we uploaded the 68 gig file or whatever, and well, I did, and it looks way better than the original presentation does. So yeah, the compression on YouTube is always going to be there, and that's an issue. But anyway, getting back to the point of it, the whole conversation about PC versus PS5 Pro is I think that instead of investing in a PlayStation 5 Pro, if you've been interested in instead upgrading the PC finally, as more like God of War Ragnarok's about to come to PC, all of these PlayStation games are coming to PC, I think if you budget for $1,000, just slightly more than the cost of the Pro, it is the time to make the jump over to PC. You already will have your PlayStation 5. I'm not expecting anybody to sell their PlayStation 5 or never play a PlayStation game again, but it does have it's sort of like right at that line where if you invest in a PC today, your games are going to look better than the PlayStation 6 if you make your build right. Like, you're already just out of the gate. I don't think it's possible to do a $1,000 build. I mean, sure, it's possible to do it, but any build that you make at $1,000 will have a better CPU. So the floor is already raised in terms of CPU performance. If you do use the 4070, like already you're ahead of the game. If you go up to a 4080, you're looking at $1,450 for the same build. And you could sell your 40 set. Like, let's say you just want to match the PS5 Pro. You could do the 4070 based on Richard Ledbetter's recommendation or what he believes matches it. And that comes, I'm sorry, I'm nerding out. Like, if this is annoying, just let me know in chat. But the reason he's saying the 4070 is because of the technology the 4070 offers, because of DLSS, because DLSS has the best upscaling. The challenge is that Radeon and AMD could very shortly be releasing FSR 4. Announced 2 days ago, AMD plans for FSR4 to be fully AI based, designed to improve quality and maximize power efficiency. Now you can build a $700 to $800 box on PC that would probably destroy the PlayStation 5 Pro in terms of visuals, right? Because you can use the what is it? What did Alex say it was comparable to on the Radeon side, the 6800 XT? And that is like $200 less or something like that. It's substantially less. So now you're like razor margin in terms of the PC upgrade option. So yeah, the card will be an AMD based card, I believe, in the PlayStation 5 Pro. Again, this is why I script my stuff so that I can have the details correct. And if you could use a Radeon based card and achieve AI upscaling that is comparable to whatever PSSR is going to be, then yeah. And I saw the J2 Sense video. J2 Sense put in a, what was it? He put in not the 4070, he put in a 4060, right? And he was able, and he dropped a terabyte on the hard drive. Honestly, the most compelling thing about the PlayStation 5 Pro from that presentation is that you get the 2 terabyte drive, the 2 terabyte internal drive. That said, I think this sets a really bad precedent for whatever the next generation of consoles are going to be. I think $700 is a lot of money to get any consumer to spend. And it's actually $800 because we don't have disk drives anymore. So yeah. Who never said what, Philaroni? Just looking at chat real quick. I do have the board here. If anybody ends up, wait, why would I not talk about what? What is Philaroni talking about? Apparently I missed some big thing. Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other considerations. People are like, did you factor in the monitor? It's like, no, I didn't factor in the monitor. Just like I didn't factor in a $2,000 8K television so that you can take full advantage of, 8K on your base PlayStation 5. That's just, I think that's a little bit of nonsense. Windows, you can get Windows for free, or you can get a key for like $10 most days. Windows 11 key. Yeah, okay, look. Windows 11 key, $11 on Groupon. So people are like, and that's for the Pro model. Everybody's just like, oh, why don't you factor in the cost of Windows? I'm like, look, I just typed in Windows key on Google, and the first option that comes up is from Groupon, and it's $11. There's one here that's $3.99. And you have to remember, you can actually just install Windows for free and have a watermark. Like, you can't change your wallpaper. So yeah. And then if you want keyboard and mouse, like that's like what, $20? I found this MSI one. It's so yeah, here is This is MSI. They're a good keyboard and mouse combo, and it's like it's a gaming keyboard and mouse. It's a good starter kit, and it's what is it, $20? $24.99. It's like on sale right now. So the idea like, oh, you didn't include Windows. There's a discrepancy between what stuff actually costs and what people think they cost. So when Richard in the interview said it's going to cost substantially more, he meant like $200 or $300 more. And I think people meant that they meant that he meant something like something crazy. Like I think they think he meant like thousands of dollars. Rich from DF clarified a 4070 provides more than 45% upgrade over a PS5 in their DF weekly video that releases tomorrow. Oh, is that over on their Patreon? I only watch on their YouTube. I'm not on their Patreon. Maybe I should change that. Thank you, Wiley. I appreciate that. Yeah, so there's like there's this context, and like he said it multiple times, and you know, I'm just watching people like he made some jokes during the conversation also, and people were giving him a hard time about that. It's like we're just being normal people. Like I thought I'm a big fan. Like I did think that people were a little hard on the whole thing. I don't care about people being mean to me. I don't care if y'all are mean to me, but I'm kind of used to it at this point, especially when it comes to PlayStation topics. They're like, Destin just hates everything. I was promoting Concord. If you go back and watch the VOD for when I reacted to the reveal, because there was tons of negativity. I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, I was like, let's wait and see. We'll see how it goes. And then I played it and I was like, yeah, this is fine. It feels good. You know, it reminds me a lot of Destiny. And then, oh my God, Aries, I updated the member page. Half of these members are from Aries. Thank you, Aries, so much. I really do appreciate it. Jeez, it's just going to be plastered over my face soon. I'm going to have to figure out how to do the scrolling thing. Thank you, Aries. I do really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I tried to get in the Concord. I couldn't do it. Aries makes me think of God of War and the God of Mars and how I'm an Aries. And every time you show up in chat, it's good to see you again. Everyone gets a membership. Yeah, so like, let's bring up PC Part Picker. People were also like... People were just looking for like any loophole. So they brought up the Starfield rig I built, right? Here's the Starfield build that I made. And they're like, oh, he dropped $5,000 on this Starfield PC. And like, he's criticizing the PlayStation 5 Pro. Did you look at what is in here? Hard drive. Look, it's a capture rig. What are you doing? And 2 of these hard drives are $600. This is for work. Like literally 2 of my hard drives cost twice as much as the PlayStation 5 Pro. This is a work rig. This rig will outlast the PS6 and probably go until the PlayStation 7. So like, I thought that people clowning on my work rig build with a 4090 in it. I'm like, what are you doing? Andrew. Thank you, W. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. So, yeah. And like, let's talk about this $5,000 build. So I wonder, can I make a copy of this? Can I make a copy of this? How do you do this? Save as big build, no hard drive. We'll allow comments. Sure. Okay. So like, let's take a look at this. First of all, I have the IQ in here, which is like $189 cooler. It's overkill for what it needs. This motherboard's freaking awesome, by the way. I have how much memory? I have 64 gigs of memory. 64 gigs of memory. Like right away. So like, let's Let's start editing this. Because if we edit this down, like, okay, like, no, you don't need two $619 hard drives. And I think I got those on sale. There's no way I paid $700 for those drives. We don't need let's just, I mean, honestly, I would keep, the way I do this is my C drive and this is my games drive. That's fine. We could save money here. I bought the 1300 watt is overkill. Like even just taking the hard drives off, we knocked off $1,000. Let's knock off the more expensive hard drive. We're down to $3,700. Let's just get a different cooler because I got that one for visuals. So let's sort by rating. Sort by price and then look for the first one with a bunch of ratings. Yeah, there's a nice one. It's fine. And actually these air coolers do a great job. Linus Tech Tips did a really compelling look at what those, so like, look, we're down to $3,500. We do not need this much RAM. So what I'm doing right now is I am taking the build that I was criticized for having, which had like a stupid amount of hard drive space because I captured like on compressed video. Like, what are you people doing? And then we'll sort by price. Let's look for the cheap stuff. And then we'll find the first one. Oh, these don't have a lot of reviews, huh? Well, I don't need 16 gigs. Let's do 32. And we need the 6,600. All right, so cheap price, sure, $117. G-Skill's fine. I could get this build down to $3,000 and still have it be like an insane build. Like this is the best hard drive you can buy. This is, how fast is that? Is this is PCIe 5? This is 5 times 4. This is literally like, what, a gen and a half past where PlayStation is right now? And it's $200. Don't quote me on that. Like when I did research, I remember the Crucial T700s are the fastest thing you can buy. So like that drive's great. And I got 2 of them. I got the 2 and the 4. So yes. And then did 4090s go on sale? This is I really like this case, honestly. I love this case. Yeah, and then like we don't need, how much wattage do we actually need? Let's not, I don't think we need 1300. Again, sort by price and then look for something with just a ton of reviews. 750 watt. No, we want 1,000 watts. We want 1,000 watts for sure. Okay. So sort by price, look for the first one with a bunch of positive reviews. $149. Okay. So I think we saved $75 there. And then the case, like, no, we don't need a $134 case. I do really like that case. So we'll sort by cheap case. Let's knock half the price off the case. Let's find something. Ooh, this fractal design. This is a nice case. It's sort of like the case I have, but I don't love the front. So where was it? It's a 4 out of 5 star. It's literally 1/3 the price. So we're down to $3,000. This is an expensive, more expensive 4090. And then I'm sorry, Chad, if this is boring. I want to see if I can get like a monster build a little bit cheaper. I don't think it's that much cheaper at 1760. Anyway, there we are. So this build will outlast the PlayStation 6, and it's $3,000, 3,116. So this is just like some crap build that I put together. If you look at my saved parts list, you can also go like, here's the PS5 Pro spec. It's $914. Don't forget, everybody, as we just showed, you can add like a really good keyboard and mouse. Which one did we go with? We went with this nice MSI Forge set. It comes with a gaming keyboard and a gaming mouse. Honestly, this is a great entry-level keyboard and mouse. It's a great entry-level keyboard and mouse. It has the side buttons that you're going to want. It has a DPI. I think that's a DPI switch on top. That keyboard is fine. I've actually used this keyboard. It's $24, and then a Windows 11 key is like $5. So add $30 to whatever build we make. Okay, $30. So we're at $940 with all that stuff. Chris says, I'm getting the high-end $780 4K Blu-ray player that plays games. Yeah, so does the PC, believe it or not. But yeah, so just looking at this build, and these are, I call these slot builds. I just kind of throw them together. They're not something that I would build. If I were to change anything in here, I would do more research about the memory. I don't know if this memory has been negatively reviewed by anybody, but it's kind of just... It's just a memory that is cheap, that had decent reviews. This is a 2 terabyte M2 drive that would match the speed of the one. And it's $100. That's honestly a really good deal for a 2 terabyte drive. So maybe I'll buy one of those. No, actually, I think I have a 4 terabyte drive in that machine. I don't remember what I put in for IGN. And then this case is great. This is the one J2 Cents used, actually. This is a really nice case. It's really nice looking. And then, yeah. So, like, honestly, I like everything else about this build. The reason there's no fan is because this comes with a fan. This particular unit comes with this box includes a Ryzen processor and high performance Wraith thermal solution. I believe that means it includes the fan. If it didn't, that would be another like $30. Yes, you could add more cooling, but again, I watched another Linus video where he took all of these fans, and the performance increase that people got was marginal using a fan. And if you want the thermal, like the cheap fans are actually really good. And I remember him being really surprised about that. So this is sort of fun for me as like a tech enthusiast. I'm like, okay, like what could you actually build for a reasonable amount and get your build to? How do I want to figure out how to just have the super chats on a separate screen, and I don't know how to do that. I know like other YouTubers do that because they're smart, but yeah, I don't know how to do that. But anyway, that's sort of where my brain's been about it. I think most people are not super happy about the price. I think it is a tough pill to swallow. Oh, you can just go to your supers page. Okay, there we go. Great. All right, so there, I brought up the super. That was easy. Chris says, let's see if I can just read here. I'm getting the high-end $780 4K Blu-ray player that plays games. Great. Okay, there. Now I know how to do it. I can just have it in a nice separate window. Remember that the OG PS5 used liquid metal? I guess you would have to get thermal paste. I mean, obviously it exists. There's whole programs for it. And no guy. You went nuts building your PC, but it can do so much more than a console. That's the thing that really bothered me. People were like making fun of my Starfield build. I'm like, how much memory is in my Starfield build? Like, did they even look? No, because they just think, oh, look at this slam dunk win we can get. And honestly, when people say stuff like that, I'm like, you just have no idea what you're talking about. Like, literally, I have 16 terabytes, 18, 22 terabytes. There's 22 terabytes of memory in that build. 22 terabytes. And Dead ZQC, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. I just saw that. Yeah, 22 terabytes of memory. And like the best, literally the best M2 drive, the M2 2280 PCIe 5x4 drive It is the best drive that has ever existed ever. It will trounce anything the PlayStation could ever do in terms of read write speeds. So, I just thought it was funny. And also, like, the CPU is the 7950X3D. The GPU is the 4090. Like I said, my machine will be better than the PlayStation 6, and it'll be better than whatever Xbox's most powerful machine ever. So, and it will honestly probably last in terms of gaming until near the end of the PlayStation 6's life cycle. So when you talk about value proposition, plus I'm using it to stream right now. So like it's a work machine. I use it to stream. I use it to record all my videos. I use it to edit all of my videos. So I'm literally making a living by owning the PC. It's how I make my living, right? So imagine your PlayStation 5. My rig was $5,000, but it's for business. It's literally for my business. It's for this YouTube channel and for all the work that I do at IGN. So yeah, it's way more than just a gaming rig. It is a gaming rig. It can stream. I do all my work on it, all of my meetings, like any little thing that I have to do. So yeah, what can your PlayStation 5 do? It can play really pretty games for $700. But I think part of the argument that I'm making is this PS5 Pro spec. Like, let's say I had to buy a $40,000 truck for my job, huh? Yeah. Let's say that you built this PS5 Pro spec and like you're interested in getting in streaming or into content creation. This is overkill for anything that you would want to do. It's super overkill. Can anybody in chat tell me off the top of their head what the comparable, what was it? Not MSI, AMD build. The kids woke up, so they're fussy. AMD GPU was it with the 6800 XT? I can't remember. I'm going to edit this part list. Save as. It was waiting for chat to catch up. So this will be the PS5 Pro with an AMD. We're just going to literally delete the, we're going to delete the 4070 and we're going to put in 6800, just the 6800. Not just 68. Oh, that's going to be like nothing. What? What is going on? It's not $1,000. That's not correct. RX 6800. Why? That's not right. $359 at Best Buy. I don't know why PC Part Picker doesn't have it listed. That's strange. Yeah, so here I can go get it at Best Buy right now. So this is the one, and this is the Radeon RX 6800. We'll just say $360. I don't. Why is it not? Why is it not listed? What is going on with PC Part Picker? Anyway, so how much was it? Let's just do the math here. We'll close this one. Sorry, everybody, going a little crazy. Did I close the parts? We are looking for the graphics card. It is not $700. I don't know why. Yeah, sure. We'll add this one. And there's no price. So use from a specific Best Buy. We'll say it's $359. All right. So now we're down to $750. Like, look how much that drops the price just by swapping out your video card. So we changed one component. It drops it to $753.96. But don't forget, everybody, you got to add that $11. You got to add the $11 for Windows and the $24.99 for a gaming keyboard and mouse. So you got to add like $34 to that. You are now cheaper than a PlayStation 5 Pro. The argument that Rich from Digital Foundry said is that to get comparable features, the only card you could use is the 4070, but also that the 4070 offers a, 75% performance enhancement. Like, it's way past what the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be able to do. So yeah, you're paying $950. You're bottlenecking yourself because you're getting a lower CPU. Like, the CPU is not changing. So yeah. So like, literally, this is about where you're at if you have an AMD rig. You're at $753. So if this news comes out that they are doing FSR 4 and that the 6800 will be able to use FSR 4, it's done deal. That's why it would be very interesting if that happened. Well, you kind of hit a ceiling. Like, if you're stuck, and I think the 5600X is also above what's the PlayStation 5 CPU, right? Pro is $959.99 in Canada. I wait for new Xbox. Yeah, wait for a new Xbox or upgrade if you want. Yeah, so that's sort of my whole take on the thing. PS5 is the 3600. So the reason I went with the 5600X, I think, is because I think there's a part shortage on the 3600. And the 5600X is a better processor. It's a better processor that you can get for cheaper. So not only are you getting better performance with the GPU, you're also going to be more future-proofed with the CPU. So yeah, I am very much considering. So I've reached out to the tech people at IGN and I'm like, do we have a 4070 and the RX 6800? Because I will, if I have to pay for it myself, I think I'm going to build this rig and do a live stream of me building it. Like, do a video just like I did when I built my Starfield monster, build this rig, and then do performance testing versus the PlayStation 5 Pro in November. Because if you take out the GPU out of the equation, this thing is like $300. It's like, it's expensive, but it's half the price of a PlayStation 5 Pro. If IGN has the card. And I did look on Facebook Marketplace. I could risk it and I could go get one off Facebook Marketplace for like $300 if I want to risk it. I'm really curious. And like, this is not dogging on the Pro. I am genuinely curious about the difference in performance between a reasonable PC build versus a PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, even taking all the caveats into consideration. Okay, like, we added the $11, and I will do it on stream. Like, I will buy the CD key, and if it's a scam, it's a scam, and I get hosed for the money. But like, I bought CD keys before. I used CD keys before for like Dragon's Dogma 1. I found like $1 CD key, and I'm like, I just want it in my Steam library. So you buy it, right? I'm not that weird about it. So yeah. So anyway, we're at 753. Somebody pointed out that, let me just copy this. Somebody said that the 3600X was also, oh, well, that's the 3600. Yeah. See, the 3600X, how much is the 3600X? Like, let's find one. $123. Oh no, see the 5600X, the monitor's doing that thing again. The 5600X is cheaper than the 3600 because you can get the 3600 core, but I don't know why. Maybe it's because Sony bought up all the processors and now there's none available. Yeah, I'd have to buy it off eBay. I think this is the processor. I think I had the 3900X before I did the upgrade finally. It lasted me. When I did my original stream build, the original CPU that I had in the rig, it lasted me like a decade. It lasted me a long time. Digital Foundry said the PS5 Pro is equivalent to the 4070 graphics card in capability. The reason he said that, to be super clear, is because DLSS is a feature set that PSSR is going to be equivalent to. At least that's what the hope is. And the only card that can do that is the 4070. However, AMD did just announce that they'll be releasing FSR 4 in the near future. And if that happens, then you can save a drastic amount of money by utilizing FSR 4 versus getting a 4070. And the 4070 puts you 75% ahead on performance. So yeah, I keep seeing that argument, and I just want to clarify that's not quite right. So anyway, one last time, here's the build that we've put together. This is the we'll just put that 5600X back in there. That is a killer deal, by the way, and I do think it comes with the fan, right? Does it? Yeah. If it has the picture of the fan, it comes with the fan. This box includes a fan. Okay, good enough. Does this include fans? Does this case include fans? Yeah. I mean, does it have front ventilation? It looks like it has two fans in the front and the one in back. It's okay. Like maybe it's not the best ventilation. It's like a 3 or that's a 4-star case. So it's pretty good. I think a lot of the complaints are just like, yeah, you know, it could have had some better parts. So anyway, we are at 753 if we use the RX 6800, and we are at 914 if we use the 4070. But like the fact of the matter is the RX 6800 puts it like right on par with the PlayStation 5 Pro, basically. Well, I mean, even then you're already a little bit above because you're using the 5600X, right? So you're already using the 5600X. And then if you do the 4070, you're not a little bit above. You're like up here versus the PlayStation 5 Pro. Why not the 7700? The AMD 7700? Because we're just trying to match the performance of the Pro, of what the Pro is believed to have internally. Okay, so now that I got that out of my system, let's read the actual features about this thing again. Nobody knows what the PS5 Pro feature set is, and I bet you it won't have none of the RTX 40XX advanced features, ray reconstruction, ultra low latency mode, and of course it won't have equal reconstruction. Like, yeah, it's not going to have all that stuff. So, yeah. All right, so welcome PlayStation 5 Pro, the most visually impressive way to play games on PlayStation. Now, honestly, I have to say this about it, and like I think the internet's going to roast me. I think for the performance that you're going to get in the box, I do think that the PlayStation 5 Pro, like if you're that 5% enthusiast PlayStation gamer that just wants to be on console and you have the disposable income and you're not going to get the stand, you're not going to get the big problem with the pricing is that you have to have that disk drive. How could you market this thing without a disk drive? Because anybody getting it, somebody said, I want to see all the grass and all the waves, right? Anybody getting it, you're going to have discs, right? So really the price is $800 after taxes. It's like $810 or something. And I think you would get the stand. Okay, this is just for people. I mean, I can't control who votes and who doesn't. I want to start a poll. And I keep calling it hard drive, disk drive. Yes to Pro, disk, and stand. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. If you're getting a PlayStation 5 Pro, are you also getting the stand and disk drive? Yes to the PS5 Pro disk and stand. That will market you. That will set you back $699 plus 80. Let's go to the PlayStation Store. I'm really curious about this. Okay. The stand is $30? Holy crap. Okay, so let's do calculator. So you got $29.99 for the stand. You got $699 for the console. And this is $79.99. Okay, so you're at $809 before tax. I'm going to be brutal here for some people. We're going to round up to $810. Yes, the PS5 Pro and disc. You are at minus $29.99. $779. Yes, the PS5 Pro. We know that's $699 and $99. Not getting it. $0. I want to know if you're buying it. Which one are you buying? Oh, well, can I edit it? No, I screwed up the poll. All right. Start a poll. Not getting it was the most popular option when it was up for like 10 seconds. PS5 Pro. Yeah, the top one's $810. Jeez. $798.99. All right, let's make sure I didn't miss anything up. Oh, wait. All right, PS5 Pro disc and stand. All right. Let's try it again. I want to know which version you were getting because I am getting the top one. I have it. If you want to see it, it's in a box up there somewhere for later. But yeah. So I'm just curious, if you're buying it, which package are you buying? Right? Are you not getting it? That's fine. You're making it harder to read the poll, but whatever. If you are getting it, are you getting the disk drive and stand? Are you getting just the disk drive? Or are you just getting just the Pro, if that makes sense? What's cringe, Julius? I'm curious. I'm asking people if they're going to purchase it, which one they want, which one they decide they're going to purchase. So let's see how that poll comes out. And yes, I do have the disk drive and all that other stuff. Yeah, a lot of people getting the disk drive. So most people are not getting it. Like even in this poll, you can see 83% of people aren't getting it. 16% are just getting the base. And then it's sort of split between people who are getting the stand and the disk drive and people who are just getting the disk drive. So interesting stuff. Let's continue reading about the console there. So I was sort of curious about that. Most people just don't want this thing. There's like, you haven't shown me any reason to upgrade it, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So they call it the most powerful, the most visually impressive way to play games on PlayStation. Update on September 26, 2024, pre-orders will be available directly from PlayStation at direct.playstation.com and at participating retailers and territories where direct.playstation.com isn't available. On October 10th, 2024, pre-orders will be available at all other participating retailers. I think this thing's going to sell out. Now, whether that is because it's popular or because they did that thing where people will limit their inventory so there's less stuff to buy remains to be seen. But I do think it will sell out. Over the last 4 years since the launch of the PlayStation 5, we've worked hard to continuously evolve the console experience and deliver the games, the great games our players expect from us. Today, I'm incredibly proud to announce, I hate that I have to use this tool so that it doesn't overlap with my camera. Today, I'm incredibly proud to announce the next step in that evolution and welcome PlayStation 5 Pro to the PlayStation family, our most advanced and innovative console hardware to date. We developed a PlayStation 5 Pro with deeply engaged players and game creators in mind, as many have asked for a console that runs even higher fidelity graphics with smoother frame rate at 60 FPS. We achieved this on the PlayStation 5 Pro with several key performance features. Here's the thing. There's a bunch of games that they're just not going to be able to do it. That's according to Digital Foundry. They're saying games that are CPU heavy, like Space Marine 2, they're not going to run at 60. And a lot of games do end up using the CPU as a crutch, as opposed to dumping everything onto the GPU in terms of performance and what it's able to do. So like, you're going to be spending all of this money, and the base PlayStation 5 is already struggling with Space Marine 2. It's not going to work on the next gen hardware. And that was really eye-opening for me, because they also said that games like GTA 6, there's like, yeah, GTA, there's no way, because you've released something that deals with simulations, and simulations, I'm assuming, hit the CPU really heavy. So their whole selling point of, 75% of our players play in 60 frames per second and they care about this stuff. Well, you're still not going to get 60 in a whole bunch of any game that is CPU heavy. They haven't upgraded the CPU. So that's sort of a problem with their messaging, because it's inaccurate. Upgraded GPU with PlayStation 5 Pro. We are upgrading to a GPU that has 67% more compute units than the current PS5 console and 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables up to 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. I mean, that's fine. You can render faster. That's one of the more compelling selling points, I suppose. Advanced ray tracing. We've added even more powerful ray tracing that provides more dynamic reflection and refraction of light. This allows the rays to be cast at double and at times triple the speeds of the current PS5 console. I think this is the stupidest selling point on the whole list. I don't think advanced ray tracing means anything to anybody, especially when the examples they used were terrible. The examples they used were not good examples. They were showing ray tracing in Star Wars using a scene where there's like, you can't see what the ray tracing are. To us dum-dums like Destin, ray tracing means when stuff reflects off glass. Why in the world would they not use Spider-Man for that? You know why? Because you wouldn't see any difference. It would look the same. Because ray tracing isn't a thing you show by itself, right? It is something that you would show like, oh, look, here's Spider-Man with ray tracing running at 45, and here's Spider-Man with ray tracing running at 4K 120. And by the way, I was trying to figure out 4K 120 capture before this, and it didn't do a great job. AI-driven upscaling, the most exciting and interesting feature, which they tell us nothing about. We're also introducing PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, an AI-driven upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail. Now, the problem is, FSR has widely been panned by anybody who likes FSR, but FSR 4 is right around the corner. Team in charge has already been working on this 9 to 12 months. The question is, when is it going to release? It doesn't say anything, there's no indication when FSR 4 is coming out. But there's a chance it could be comparable to whatever we see in the coming days from PlayStation. Yeah, it's just mostly they've just been talking about it, but FSR 4 has been largely disappointing to people in the space. And this is the one area where PlayStation could really shine if they've figured out AI upscaling, so to speak. PS5 Pro provides gamers with amazing graphics at high frame rates. You can hear Mark Cerny, lead architect for PlayStation 5 Pro, discuss the key innovations from PlayStation 5 Pro in the following video presentation. This presentation provides a deep dive into the key performance features that make PlayStation 5 Pro truly special. Now, here's the other thing. If we go down to the next paragraph, there's some really interesting stuff that they didn't even talk about in the presentation. Like Game Boost. Game Boost is actually a very compelling feature, I think, for a lot of gamers, and they could have done a whole segment about it. There is AMD VP interview at Tom's Hardware. That's the link I brought up. FSR 4 objective is VIA AI reduce battery consumption for handhelds. Go look it up. That's interesting. That's interesting. But it is also their AI upscaler, P3 Tran. And beyond that, that does make me wonder what the Xbox handheld will be able to do. So PlayStation finally got around to doing Game Boost. Other enhancements include PS5 Pro Game Boost, which can apply to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on PlayStation 5 Pro. This feature may stabilize or improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS5 games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve the resolution on select PS4 games. PS5 Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7, in territories supporting this standard. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. 8K what? Like, what are you even talking about with 8K? What are you even talking about with 8K? How many 8K games? How many of y'all were playing 8K on your base PlayStation 5 or your Xbox? I want to know if there's a single person in chat that played a game in 8K. Who played their games in 8K on either your Xbox or your PlayStation? Anyone? There's got to be one of you out there who has an 8K TV and played either a PlayStation or an Xbox game with their console set to 8K. Not seeing anybody. Nope. Nobody cares about 8K. How much is an 8K television? I had an 8K. It broke. And I had to bring it back to IGN. I was like, hey, the TV you got me, that's 8K. It doesn't work. Is this 8K? 8K? Overview specs. Block. I don't want you to know where I live and stuff. Block. No, Samsung. I do not want you to send me spam. Thank you. I can't find it. Where's 8K? This one's $1,500. It does not have the word 8K on the page. Here we go. We'll just go to Best Buy. All right. Like if you're going to buy an 8K TV. Okay, here we go. Here's an 8K TV, $3,299. It's a Samsung Neo QLED 8K. It is 46 reviews on Best Buy. I mean, this is ridiculous. What is it? Is it the size? This one's bigger. Oh, it has voice assist. Here you go, $1,199. I think this is sort of like the one that I had. No, I had a Samsung. Jeez, these prices, you guys. Nobody's doing 8K. No one's doing 8K right now. Like, Gran Turismo's not going to run at 8K. It's going to run at 1440p 60. Gran Turismo is going to run at 1440p. They're going to use PSSR and whatever tech they have, and they're going to push it up to 8K. How much you want to bet? I would have to go look at my notes and like go rewatch Digital Foundry Review to figure out like what is the native resolution that Gran Turismo 7 is already running at, because right now there's only 2 games that do 8K. Or wait, one, The Tourist. What other game even had 8K? GT7 is running at 8K in the footage. My 4K TV is 8K. Yeah, okay, Chris. So yeah, like I'm so stop marketing 8K like you're lying and nobody uses it. I think like I think the whole 8K, I think I did 8K Doom capture, and that was the only thing I was ever able to do over on IGN. 8K Doom. Let me see. I think this was me. No, this is a trailer. I did a gameplay clip at some point of a game running at like, this has to be this, right? No, this is the one they officially released. Anyway, sorry to get distracted there for a second. Maybe I just tried it, but at the time, YouTube wouldn't even encode 8K yet. So yeah. And then what do we got here? So 8% of people are buying everything. 8% of people are buying just the disk drive and the Pro. And 9% of people are getting just the Pro. And 74% of people don't want it. Here, I'll end it so we can look at the stats together for the poll that we put up for the Pro. Yo Peep says off subject, but I hope whatever the specs of next gen hardware, we go back to compact systems, PS4, PS2 sizes. That I can agree with. It doesn't say how many people voted. Oh, it's because I pasted in the voting percentages from the last poll. So it was 73,988. 259 votes. So of the people who are buying, it's like a third are just getting each of the options there. Why am I tilted? No, I'm just having a good time talking with y'all. Why in the world? Why did Vince think I sounded tilted? I was just talking about 8K Doom footage. I'm not tilted. What? You crazy. Maybe you meant tired. Anyway, it's humbling to see how game creators have embraced the latest technology from PS5 Pro, and several games will be patched with free software updates for gamers to take advantage of PS5 Pro's features. These games can be identified with a PS5 Pro Enhanced label within their title. Some games you can look forward to include blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios and our third-party partners, such as Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't out yet, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh, this one was not well optimized. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, The Crew Motorfest. My monitor shut off again. The First Descendant, The Last of Us Part 2, Remastered, and more. I think my graphics card's dying. I think I'm going to take the card out of that one and put it in that one, because I'm tired of this stupid thing shutting off my monitor all the time. Either that or I got some bad cables. We kept the look of the PlayStation 5 Pro consistent with the overall PS5 family of products. You'll notice the height is the same size as the original PlayStation 5, and the width is the same size as the current PS5 model to accommodate higher performance specs. Players can add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive or swap out the console covers when they become available. And you can actually take a look. It looks like a PlayStation. Of course, they're showing it with the stand. This is how the disk drive will be attached. You will take off a little panel here and then put on your disk drive. This is what it looks like laying down. What my GPU is 36 degrees. Noise mof. Yeah, I bought the cap that has the temp on it. Does it show it laying down with the hard drive on it? No. So anyway, yeah, it looks like a PlayStation. PS5 Pro fits perfectly within the PS5 family of products and is compatible with the PS5 accessories currently available. So I mean, including VR, Portal, DualSense, Pulse Elite, Pulse Explorer. The user interface and network services will also remain the same as PS5. I don't have my Pulse 3D headset anywhere. So I tried out the PlayStation Pulse headset when it came out, and I think I just didn't care. I don't think it's worth the money for whatever they're trying to sell you there. Did anybody really enjoy? Did anybody really enjoy the Pulse headset? Do you see PS5 Pro games being even more expensive or being enhanced? I just don't get the point of this Pro. Last gen refresh made sense. Yeah, Alex, that's the problem. They didn't do a good job of showing why it makes sense. And that's the main reason that I think everybody's lambasting them. And I've been pretty hard on, I was pretty disappointed in CNET. Like, you're the tech leaders. You were the tech leaders for years. How in the world? I told like all the producers, I'm like, if we do anything with the Pro, shoot it in 4K 60 for the love of everything that's holy. Like, why in the world was that mastered in 1080 30? Did they ever fix it? Like, they have the raw footage, or is it just like, oh yeah, we didn't think that maybe shooting it in a higher resolution might make sense. Let's see. Did they update their? Nah. They streamed something 5 days ago. Are any of their videos? I'm just going to look at their last 3 videos and see if any of them have. These are all CNET videos. This one's in 4K. What about this one? The iPhone field shoot, 4K. Is this a field shoot? Okay. This one, HD. So they're in the field. So all their field shoots are 1080. What are you doing, CNET? What are you doing? You're gonna lug out that big old camera, set up all your stuff, and you're not gonna switch it over to. I'm just bummed. Like, it's just such a dumb mistake. Like, if I made this mistake, I would be embarrassed. I'd be like, you're right. Did I not read your super chat? I thought I read all the super chats. Yeah, I got all the super chats up. Let me go see what you wrote. No Man's Sky. One sec. Where is it here? Wait a minute. Here we go. No Man's Sky said, moreover, is useless if devs don't upgrade the game. Yeah, you do have to go through and update it. That's a good call. I missed it. Sorry, No Man's Sky. Yeah, you need to upgrade the game still, but it's available. So anyway, continuing on the blog post, I do think the PS5 boost is very interesting. They didn't talk about it, which doesn't make any sense. Andrew C. It looks like I missed one. I missed a few super chats. Sorry, guys. Andrew C. said, I want Xbox to make a handheld. That is all. Series X and S have hardware machine learning too. Yeah, they do. RDX. Pro is $599 in Canada. I'll wait for the Xbox. Yeah. Lotus. What? Thank you, Lotus. I was just thinking to myself, man, I'm being super rambly and not that entertaining right now. And then Lotus drops $50. Thank you. I really do appreciate it very much. We are one step closer to having enough to buy the Pro. Lotus, thank you. I was going to make like a fancy exclamation point. I think that's my first 50 ever. Thank you, Lotus. W. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm one step closer to that PlayStation 5 Pro. My goodness. Lotus, thank you. Seriously. Did not expect that at all, but I definitely appreciate it. All right, let's keep going here. The PS5 Pro console will be available this holiday at $699 in the US, $799 in Europe, 119,980 Japan yen. It includes a 2 terabyte SSD, DualSense wireless controller, and a copy of Astro's Playroom pre-installed in every PS5 Pro purchase. Lotus, thank you. Is Lotus like a lurker? Well, thank you very much, Lotus. PS Pro is available as a diskless console with the option to purchase the currently available disk drive for PS5 separately. So yeah, you can just buy the one. It launches on November 7th. It'll be available at participating retailers and directly from PlayStation. Our PS5 journey would not be possible without the millions of players that have supported us through the years and have shared with us their love of gaming. Anyway, I think the price is pretty crazy. Lotus, let me see your channel activity. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're just like a new user. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. I think the sticker shock is bad. I do think it sets an unfortunate precedent for what we're going to see in the future from PlayStation 5. And there was this interesting take from Jason Schreier, who talked about the PlayStation 5 feeling out of time, like a time capsule or something. The PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't feel like the console of the future. It feels like a vestige of a rapidly disappearing past. This week's announcement just showcased the futility of the video game graphics arm race. The graphics arm race is over. I think that the last generation where we were really going to see vast differences was from the Xbox One to the Xbox Series X, or from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. There were pretty easy things to show, like, okay, so we're rendering at sub 1080 and now we're going up to 1440 or native 4K in some instances. The console can do for 8K. And now it's like the windows look sharper on the edges. Like the selling points are harder to show. And I think that's a big reason why I was so disappointed with the CNET thing, or even PlayStation's own presentation. I thought both of them were bad presentations. The only thing you can take away from the CNET presentation is some guy at CNET really liked it. Now, I don't know the Scott guy from CNET. I could do some research about who he is, but it's just like, what of value does the viewer take away from some guy who we don't know saying it's good? Like, he said that you can see the difference when they're sitting there side by side on a 70-inch television. But like, I don't have a 70-inch TV at home. The race for graphics, it's done. It's done and dusted. And Nintendo was the only one who saw the writing on the wall when they made the Switch. Then it was like, we're going to make this awesome handheld. It's $400. Knock yourself out. We're going to sell it for a decade and a half. When did the Switch come out? Came out in 2017. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then 25. So like, it's going to be on the market for 8 years, and then it'll go like the full 10 years. They're not doing the Pro, the Switch 2 or whatever. And apparently the leaker released the release date. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. It's going to be $400 according to Reddit, and it will be announced early next month, and we already know what's coming out next year. When's the release date? He didn't say the release date. It's launch. Okay, this article says he released the launch date, but I actually don't know. Does anybody know? Does anybody know the rumored Switch 2 release date? TBD. Anyway, yeah. I think Nintendo has it right, because when the new Switch comes out, it's going to knock your freaking socks off. Like, literally, you're going to be making the jump from choppy 30 frames, if that, to native 4K 60 on all of your old games. So those games, they tapped out at 1080p. So if you just upgrade the hardware, all of those old games are going to be 60 frames. They're going to be native 4K or near native 4K, 60 frames per second. Every single old Nintendo game. Visually, they're going to like just have so much more overhead and bandwidth to work with. They're going to run better. They're going to run better. They're going to look better. They're going to feel better. Plus whatever other bells and whistles the Switch 2 has. Switch 2 will be more exciting than the PlayStation 5 Pro. I'll tell you that right now. You are going to be able to clearly see the difference between the Switch and the Switch 2. ACG says it will not do 4K. I mean, probably not in handheld mode, but maybe in dock mode. It'll do 60 for sure. So yeah, you're probably right. So HTZ is it probably won't do native 4K. It'll do upscale to 4K. Probably wouldn't make a huge difference to the reception of the Pro, but I assume Concord was planned to be in there in some capacity. I actually don't think so. I don't think Concord, I don't know, man. Concord, just think about the marketing that we got. We got one asset and gameplay, no other teases, and then they drop the game in early access, and then they release it, and then they cancel it 12 days later. So like whatever happened with Concord, it's really interesting. I never addressed the first time chatters over on Twitch. Sorry, N2 Cranes. The PS5 should have been it. We still don't have many PS5 only games. Excuse me. Compared to how many cross-gen exclusives there were. Yeah. I agree with N2 Cranes. Like, there's not enough reason to have the Pro. It doesn't need to exist. Alex, give me an exclamation point. I know you've been leaving a few tips. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I think the big problem is there's just no reason for the Pro. There's no reason for the Pro to exist. Just like there was really no reason for Concord to be a hero shooter. Like, that was really strange. Just the PlayStation 5 is already a great machine. It's already running games that look amazing. I don't think it needed to be released right now. And my super crazy person rant was largely inspired by this poll that I put up. You probably saw it on Twitter if you follow me on Twitter. And basically I was like, how much do you think it would cost to build a PC that is comparable in features / power to the PS5 Pro? I'll tell you the answer tomorrow if you haven't found it already. And I started at $800 and I gave $900, $1,000, and $1,100 plus. Now the answer, if you use the 4070, is around $900. It's not $1,000. No matter how you cut it, you don't get to $1,000. Like, unless you're using all Premiere parts or some crazy thing, right? So it's right around 900. It's not like anything crazy. And then the crazy thing is when we put, what else did we do? So we built the $900 build. We have two builds right here. We have them right here. We have the $914 $95 build, and we have the $753 96 build. If the uh-oh. Guys, I gotta go. I'll be right back. Is he okay? Sorry about that. Kids stuff takes priority, you know? No, it's scary. It's just like, okay, going into dad mode for a second. So Daniel, when he was little, he would stick his hands in the back of the door and then the door would shut. Like it would just shut slow. But I mean, that would hurt me if it happened, right? So I heard something about a door happened. Daniel, we have a sliding door in the house, and Daniel shut the door on his brother's fingers, and then he gave his brother a hug. It's okay. So yeah, everything's all right. The kids are okay, but like that scares me because it reminds me when Daniel's little, and yeah. So yeah, here a crazy thing. Just being a dad, it's just like you're constantly stressed. You are stressed all the time because you're worried about them getting hurt and things like that. So I had to stop for a second, go check on the kids. They're okay. But I should probably go back up mom here in a little bit. So anyway, so we put together two builds. These are what I call them slot builds because I'm throwing them together. I'm not like doing research about the components, but I'm trusting PC part picker to give me a good price breakdown. So we've done two here. We have this one. They both use the 5600X processor, which already is a much better processor than the Pro is going to have because you can pay less and get a better processor than what the what the PlayStation 5 has. And with this build, we're looking at $753. That is with a Radeon RX 6800, and if PSR4 is as good as, FSR4 is as good as PSSR, then we're looking at a pretty comparable build here. And then the other one we built was $914 with a 4070. Now, the thing Digital Foundry was saying is that specifically the only card that would have the upscaling effect comparable to what they believe the PSSR tech is going to do would be the 4070, but it's also a 75%. It's some like insane increase in what you're able to do graphically versus the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? So you're already looking at, for this $914 build, you are probably future-proofed past the PlayStation 6. So yeah, that is the one point. And then the whole keyboard and mouse thing, like, can we stop? Can we really stop with the whole keyboard and mouse thing? There's a gaming keyboard and mouse. It's $24. And there's this discrepancy between people who've built PCs and know that you can build a damn good PC and know you don't need to spend $2,000. And that the whole poll was sort of me just saying, well, how much do people think he meant? Like how much, when he said significantly more, he meant a couple $100. He didn't mean thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And you can see me sort of reacting to it because I'm doing the math. He's like, I'm like, okay, the graphics card is $550, but like, how much was that case that I looked at again when I was doing my And the answer is like, it's like $200 more, $240 more, which is notable. Like that amount of money is obviously a notable amount of money to people, but you are getting a 75% graphical boost. So it was just interesting because a lot of people just don't know. And then you saw people like Alex, who's over at Digital Foundry. He said, I would say $900 to $1,000 for a PC with GPU and CPU better than the PS5 Pro, like a 4070 and a 5600 or 5700. But for a feature set, you can get a better feature set RTX with much cheaper hardware that will just have to play at 1080 or 1440p output like base PlayStation 5. Yeah, man, you could build a really, really nice rig for less than a Pro for sure. If you're targeting 1080, like. And then Tom Henderson said, I'd imagine 1,100. Where's the $600 option? A lot of people pointed out the J2 Cents video. Nib put together these builds. Nib, I'm sorry to call you on the spot. So he's using the 3700X, which again is a more expensive processor than the 5600, and he used it in both of his builds. It comes with a cooler, so you don't need the $35 cooler. This is fine for the motherboard. It's a little, like, you can get a cheaper one than that, obviously. That's like, what did I put in my build? So he used the MSI Mag, great board, the Tomahawk, and I used the ASRock. That's right. The ASRock build. What else did he put in there? You can get a better deal on a board than this. He used Corsair memory. You don't need to pay this much for memory. He also has twice the amount of memory than it's not a 32 gigabytes of memory, right? It's 16. PS5 Pro memory. It's 16, right? It's 16 of GDDR6 according to PlayStation Universe. Is that right? Anyway. What else was he saying? Yeah, so I think he has twice as much memory in there. The 2 terabyte, again, sure, you can get the Western Digital Black. I don't know why you would pay the $50 extra. You're going to put it in your machine. You're never going to look at it again. And then he put a sound card on it, which is another $87. The power supply is comparable to what I would pick. He picked the case that's twice as expensive. Like, he did a full write down about why he chose each of the components. Oh, and then he picked a $42 mouse and a, like, guys, what are you doing, Nib? What are you doing? Like, he did a full write out, but I thought it was a little, Nibs, whatever. Like, I don't hate him or anything like that. But I was just looking at it. I'm like, no. Alex just sent over benchmarks of a 7700X with a CPU bottleneck, which is apparent in the PS5, which is equivalent to a 3600. $756 gives me a PS5 Pro without having to pay for online. Personally, I would spend more on the CPU to put it at around 800, but then I would technically beat the PS5 Pro. And he's using, I can't remember what this tool is called, but like he's showing he's getting 90 to 87 FPS and just he's trouncing it. Yeah, man. So like when you start talking about these builds, and I don't know what these people think. Like, why do you think of why, like, instead of buying a sound card to like match whatever sound thing you're trying to match, why wouldn't you just get a motherboard with the appropriate sound thing that you want on it? Like, it's all a gimmick. Like, what's the Dolby sound thing? Do motherboards come with that? Like, I'll just be honest with you. I don't give a shit about any of the audio stuff because I capture everything in 2.1 anyway. Like, the only time I really get to experience the any of the audio features is like if I plug in the Pulse headset, and when I have done that, I don't care. I don't have a home theater set up. I have to play everything in headphones anyway. So yeah. Oh my God said, should Xbox respond to the PS5 Pro by announcing price cuts to their consoles and unveiling a handheld for $449 or in that ballpark? I think that would be a great response. Phil Aroni said, why are we talking about how to build a better PS5 than talking about Xbox news? Also, for everyone wondering, no one here can make the game breakdown. you're not buying at huge bulk prices. Yeah. Phil's right. We should talk about the Xbox news, and I do need to get back to the family anyway. Thank you, Phil. But yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of an interesting conversation because I think there's a lot of people chiming in who are I don't want to be mean about it. I don't understand where they're coming from. I think they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know. And I think that was made pretty apparent by the poll that I put together. Like when I put out the poll, it's like they're trying to justify the console existing, and I'm trying to have a conversation about the fact that PC gaming is also good, and that I don't know that you're getting a great value proposition here. So it's like having two different conversations. And like this poll, every single, like most 40% of people thought to make a PC equivalent would cost you $1,100+. The poll has 10,000 votes. So that means about 5,000 of the votes, maybe 4,200, think it costs $1,100 to make a PC equivalent. Console purchasers seem to have no concept of what PC gaming actually costs. And I think when they realize, oh, I can build a baller PC for $1,000, they might make the jump. And I do think more gamers will start to make the jump. Yeah, and a lot of reactions were like, what? Yeah, like people who know. And there were a bunch of people who priced it together, and it's like, yeah, if you're going with the cheaper version, then with the Radeon, then you're looking closer to whatever, the $700 price point. We need to talk about the other unfortunate news. Now, I haven't covered this on my channel. We're going to move over to Xbox firing 650 more people. It's unfortunate. I didn't get to cover it this last week, but yet more layoffs have hit the Xbox division at Microsoft. Microsoft lays off 650 more Xbox employees. Microsoft is laying off around 650 employees in its gaming division today. The latest cuts come months after Microsoft laid off 1,900 Activision Blizzard employees, and after the closure of several game studios, including Redfall developer Arcane Austin. Xbox chief Phil Spencer announced the layoffs to employees in an internal memo this morning, seen by The Verge. The cuts are related to the Activision Blizzard deal, and Spencer makes it clear in his email that no games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of the layoffs today. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our business, we have made the decision to eliminate approximately 650 roles across Microsoft Gaming, mostly corporate and supporting functions, to organize our business for long-term success, said Spencer. Microsoft completed its acquisition in October, following months of battles with regulators in the UK. Here is his full email. Okay, so you either... Okay, let's paint the picture here. You go into work. You find out there were a bunch of layoffs on Twitter. You check your inbox. Phil Spencer has sent you an email. For the past year, our goal has been to minimize disruption while welcoming new teams and enabling them to do their best work. Here's my reaction. Oh, people are getting fired. We're doing more layoffs. Oh, man. Minimize disruption. You just know it's coming. You get that sinking feeling in your gut. As part of aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our businesses, we have made the decision to eliminate... Oh, come on. More? Like, I'm imagining what it's like if you work at Xbox and you're reading this email, like the emotions that are going through your head. You're just like, oh, God. More layoffs. Mostly corporate and supporting functions to organize our business for long-term success. You're $1 trillion company. Like, that sucks. It's just got to be, it's just completely demoralizing. And we're going to get to that in just a second here. But like, reports say morale at Xbox is very low. At some point, How many people can you let go at a company before like you can't function properly anymore? We're already seeing all of these issues at Microsoft where like just strange decisions are happening and they're not able to react to them faster. You have the UK marketing team saying we're small and scrappy or whatever. They're shutting down studios. Like, I don't know. I know that this is difficult news to hear. We are deeply grateful for the contributions of our colleagues who are learning they are impacted. In the US, we're supporting them with exit packages that include severance. Thank God severance is a thing, I guess. Extended healthcare and outplacement services to help with their transition. Outside the US, packages will differ according to location. With these changes, our corporate and supporting teams and resources are aligned for sustainable future growth and can better support our studio teams and business units with programs and resources that can scale to meet their needs. Separately, as part of running the business, there are some impacts to other teams as they adapt to shifting priorities and manage the life cycle and performance of games. No games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of these adjustments today. Throughout our team's history, we have had great moments and we have had challenging ones. Today is one of the challenging days. I know that going through more changes like this is hard, but even in the most trying times, this team has been able to come together and show one another care and kindness as we work to continue delivering for our players. We appreciate your support as we navigate these changes, and we thank you for your compassion and respect for each other. Like the whole video game industry, I don't even know what they're doing anymore. And to hear that morale is at an all-time low, it's just like, if you're an employee, I'm curious to hear from chat on this one. If you're an employee and you get this letter, this is what their third or fourth round of layoffs, what would you be doing? Would you be motivated to work? Like, just tell me, how do you imagine you would feel if you were in this situation at your current job? I would probably, me personally, I would probably feel less motivated to work. And yeah, a lot of people are saying, look for another job. Yeah. Updating my resume, Sandestig says. Searching on Indeed. Yeah, you're looking to get out, right? You're like, well, okay, I'm in danger. What can I do to protect myself? And the problem is this is like, it's happening everywhere. Like it's not just like a Microsoft thing, although the fact that Xbox keeps getting hit is pretty shocking. They're at a couple thousand now for layoffs. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. The 17 people still working there are probably distraught. Yeah. It's like, I know you're joking around, but like, yeah. Alex says, I would literally have Indeed open on the second monitor and wouldn't care who saw. I also did this when I worked in tech. Lol. Yeah, it's bad. And to no one's surprise, apparently morale at Xbox is very low. Confusion and uncertainty are all around. As such, Tech for Gamers notes that the company employees' morale is very low. That apparently comes from Tom Warren. I mean, can you just link to the original source so I don't have to... Oh my God. Anyway, so Tom Warren told Tech for Gamers that morale's low. Did Tom Warren tweet about it? Like, why in the world? Why wouldn't you just link to Tom? Sorry. Make me actually do my job. I can't find him saying morale's low or whatever. Anyway, so Tech for Gamers says that Tom Warren said that morale is low. Oh, here it is. Okay. I found the source of the source of the source. Here we go. Microsoft Xbox turmoil isn't slowing down. Another round of painful layoffs. Is this the article we were reading? No, it's a different one. It's red. It's got the red logo. In a week when Xbox fans were hoping to hear a response from Microsoft to the PlayStation 5 Pro, the software giant is making more layoffs. Xbox chief Phil Spencer announced the layoffs in an internal memo seen by The Verge. The cuts are part of continued restructuring. Oh, and it's his note. Okay, so it's from Notepad. That's why it's a source of a source. They went on to further note, by the way, Notepad is Tom Warren's like newsletter thing, if you're interested in it. And you can, yeah, jump on our show soon, please. Who's that? Who's Special Nick, you guys? I joke, Nick. I hear you. Let's start with the obvious. The company's console sales are middling at best. I mean, okay. So like Tom Warren said, morale's low. I think that goes without saying. Anytime there are big layoffs at your company, yes, morale is going to be low. And I think it leaves a lot of people sort of like confused about the future and where things are going for the company. So yeah, Stan the Sig said, updating my resume. And I think that is where most people would be left. They're just going to update their resume and then go somewhere else. And they're going to lose talented people. Now, the kids are going crazy. My wife's out there by herself. I wanted to film a reacts today because I saw a video from Laura Fryer. You might remember she did the Baldur's Gate video, sort of reacting to the Baldur's Gate drama last year. So we're going to watch this and react to it. She has a video called Culture Killed Concord. Culture Killed Concord. We're going to watch it right now and react to it. Let's get into it.
Culture killed Concord. It's that simple. When you fail this spectacularly out of the gate with issues that are easy to validate with customers, you know, the people that pay you so that you can make games, well, you have a culture problem.
She was an executive producer at Microsoft. I'm just so glad every time I watch one of her videos. Her channel is so great. And by the way, her editing is a little bit better on this one. Her headspace is better. Like if you go back and watch the last one, it's clear she's invested in some audio equipment and such. Why nobody has hired her? Like, I feel like she's the reality check that these big companies need. Like she had the right take with Baldur's Gate. She has the right take with Concord. And like, that was my big reaction. If you go watch the next gen console watch, I'm like, where was the focus testing? Like, did you not listen to it?
Firewalk Studios had the information they needed and they didn't bother to fix the issues in the game, or they never asked. Either one of these situations is a problem.
Yep. So either you knew the problems and you didn't do anything about it, or you didn't ask if there were any problems and you just assumed you knew everything. Both are bad things. Like the initial launch trailer was panned. Everybody was like, I don't like these characters. Like, it seems like Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff. What is this? Like, there was no positive reaction to that initial trailer. It's not letting me do the transition here.
Every game has many unknowns when you start out. That's why game development is so difficult, because it's iterative. You have to make the game while paying attention to what is going on around you, because gaming evolves. What players like changes. This means you need a studio culture that has a healthy feedback loop. Clearly, that didn't happen with Concord.
Yeah. Studio culture where you just like any company you work at, if you don't want to listen to somebody who is just saying, hey, I think we have an issue with the storytelling in our game. We have an issue with the character designs. Like they don't seem particularly interesting. We should probably look on zhuzhing them up, like making them extra cool or something like that. This feels a little derivative of Guardians of the Galaxy. If you don't want to hear any of that, or there's not a feeling that you can say what you feel truthfully at a company, you're going to run into an issue where you're unable to address the issues at the company. Right? And I think that's what she's getting at. It's very frustrating.
Let me explain. First, if you haven't heard.
And like, I'm not talking about just being like a jerk at a company meeting, but if you can't say, come on guys, like this is very Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like, nah, we don't want to hear it. It's like, okay, well, let's do a focus test and let's see how people react. And then they either don't listen to it or
Concord
whatever.
Shut down after 12 days. It had less than 1,000 concurrent players and less than 25,000 units were sold. Cost-wise, I've seen estimates that said $250 million plus was spent. Also,
I think that's not correct. Like, I know she was an EP at Microsoft. I don't think that number's correct. I've seen that number also. And there's no world where 250 million makes any sense, right? Like it had to be closer, like maybe 200, 250. It's a little high.
They were in development for over 6 years, and this is the first issue we'll talk about. That is a long time to make a game, and the landscape of gaming evolves.
Yeah. This is like the first Overwatch short, by the way,
Let's
like ever
take a
made.
look at what was going on when Concord started. Overwatch had just shipped, and it was a spectacular success.
Look at the flow of the animation and the smoothness in which those characters move in these shorts. And like, we don't really know anything. I remember my initial reaction to watching this, actually. I was sort of like, okay, like I like the animation. The animation looks cool, but I don't really know who these characters are. And then the May short came out and I was like, oh, they're able to like sort of touch on feelings of, you know, being young or looking up to somebody or anything like that. And yeah, it's really interesting to hear somebody like Laura discuss these topics.
Being inspired by the success of Overwatch is not a surprise. Everybody would want to make an Overwatch. The problem is that they took several years to make the game and the market changed. They needed to adjust. Unfortunately, this is not a new story. SOE! This happened to Sigil Games when they were working on a game called Vanguard. Vanguard was a massive...
I've never heard of Vanguard. Has anybody heard of Vanguard? I've never heard of Vanguard ever before. Anyway, it's like EverQuest. I'm actually reading, and I have to finish it. I've gotten a little crazy over the last few weeks, but I'm reading this book, Play Nice, Jason Schreier's book. I wasn't paid to read this or talk about it or anything like that, by the way. He just sent it over. He did provide the book. This is a very good book. It is about the history of Blizzard, and they talk about how when EverQuest 2 was being developed, they were making World of Warcraft. I learned so much about Blizzard from this book. That's why I love it so much. And it's sort of written in the style of, like, I used to read books about hackers like Kevin Mitnick and stuff like that. And it's sort of written in that style, and I really do appreciate that. He's taking us through sort of a history lesson of the company. Well, anyway, before World of Warcraft came out, there was like Final Fantasy XI was sort of around that time. This Vanguard game was around that time. And World of Warcraft came out and it was just more accessible and better. So, yeah.
Massively multiplayer game started in 2002. The company was founded by Brad McQuaid, who is credited with making EverQuest, one of the most successful games at the time. I joined Vanguard as the Microsoft executive producer at the same time I started on Gears of War.
So yeah, she worked on this in Gears of War. I'm not going to lie. Vanguard looks cool though. Like visually, it looks interesting.
I remember when EverQuest launched because everyone at Microsoft stopped doing their jobs and started playing the game. So I was...
the funny thing is, in Jason's book, apparently the same thing happened at Blizzard. There were so many people playing EverQuest that like it would bring productivity to an absolute halt, and they would just be playing this game all the time. But what did it result in? It resulted in World of Warcraft.
I wasn't surprised when Microsoft signed the deal to make Vanguard. They wanted the next EverQuest. We were so excited about this game. The only problem was that the market changed rapidly when Blizzard shipped World of Warcraft in 2004. WoW massively expanded the market, bringing in more casual players. Suddenly, you didn't have to camp a spawn for 20 hours like in EverQuest. You could leave your computer. You could even use the bathroom. It was awesome. It was a whole new world, a world gamers liked. Unfortunately, the Sigil team didn't want to hear that feedback. They didn't accept that the market had moved, and they were designing Vanguard to be more like the original EverQuest. In fact, they refused to play the game, which I
think she's talking about World of Warcraft. This part in the video where she's like, they refuse to play the game. Every time I hear that about a studio, if I hear that about the studio, I would bet money that the game is going to have major issues that could have been addressed had they looked at the competition market. When Anthem was being developed, there was like a little bit of a rule within BioWare that you weren't supposed to talk about Destiny. That is so stupid. Why in the world would you not play the competition, see what they're doing well, and implement those good features into your product? Oh man, I really like XYZ. We should make sure we have something comparable in our game. Like, you're absolutely crazy. It's crazy.
Found very confusing. For context, most game developers play every game that directly competes with theirs. They play to learn and for inspiration. They play to make sure that when they ship, that it's something players want, that it's something they'll pay for. You can't afford to make a massively expensive game and then hope that you're going to attract an audience. You need to know that there's an audience for your game.
And absolutely, it's like something has happened with the video game industry, and the only word I can think to describe it is hubris. I think there is an arrogance or hubris in the games industry where they think that they're going to, out of thin air, without looking at anything else in the industry, going to be able to make something better. It's just like, why the frick would you do that? Why in the world would you do that? Why wouldn't you look at the competition? Why wouldn't you look at the games that people are excited about and say, oh, maybe we could learn a thing or two from that? No, you're the creative vision that's going to make the next World of Warcraft. You know what the World of Warcraft team did? They played the crap out of EverQuest and said, we want to make our EverQuest. They got rid of they wrote a list of all the shit they didn't like in EverQuest. They wrote a list of all the shit that they did like in EverQuest. And then they were like, let's make our better version of that. And they made World of Warcraft. Like, oh, what's the magic sauce that Blizzard came up with to make World of Warcraft? We just can't figure it out. They played video games and they talked about and why they liked them and what they didn't like and how they could improve it. Like this boneheadedness of, oh, we're going to come up with it out of thin air and we're not going to talk about that other game or use it for market analysis.
You have to build it with the players in mind from the start. When we play tested Vanguard, we were finding players didn't like it. It was too hard. There was too much grinding. Unfortunately, Sigil didn't want to hear it. Some of the team were actively hostile when we tried to discuss it. When you have people giving feedback and you're openly hostile to that feedback, a lot of people, most people, will just shut down. They'll just stop telling you what's wrong.
Yeah. Hey, I think that this game, like if you're talking about Concord, hey, I think this is a little bit Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff, and you're called names or ridiculed or just basically called stupid or anything sort of negative. Okay, go ahead, launch your game. I'll enjoy the 2 more weeks of paychecks that I'm going to get. Like, it makes me very frustrated. The Concord situation is the most frustrating because I see a situation that was at least partially preventable, right? I don't think it needed to get 12 days in before it was axed. Nerd says, this gen frustrates me because the issue is not with graphic fidelity. The problem is aversion to risk and execution of vision or originality. Yeah. But even, and thank you, Perfect. Why people calling broke when single parent buy a PlayStation? Well, we're not really talking about the PlayStation, but yeah. Nerd, thank you for the $2. Perfect. Nerd says, graphic fidelity isn't what is important. And even when you're talking about something like World of Warcraft, it wasn't like an original idea. Somebody had done the MMO already. They just did the best MMO, which hadn't been done yet.
What they think should change because they don't need the stress or they don't want to lose their jobs. And this creates a broken feedback loop.
Yep.
So it's not surprising that
they don't want the stress. They don't want to lose their jobs. So you know what they do? They don't say the things that they want to say. That's problematic, isn't it? Isn't that kind of bad? Doesn't that just kind of create an echo chamber of positivity?
That the market changed out from under the team that was making Concord. The question is, why didn't they adjust? Did they not see it? Or did they playtest, see the issues, and not make changes? Or maybe they had a hostile work environment where people stopped giving feedback.
I mean, that would be worse. Well, she's referencing the Park Place here. I do worry about, oh, Aries, thank you. 20 gifted memberships. Aries EMS, thank you so much, Aries. I do so wait, you did 10 and now you did 20? I seriously can't fit all the memberships on this page if you did 20. Thank you, Aries. I really do appreciate it. Do I just write Aries again? Thank you, Aries. I really appreciate it. The link that she's referencing is Concord developer demand coworkers were. Oh, that thing. Yeah. I don't know about how true that was or not, but there are rumors about the internal culture of the company.
I saw this report recently claiming that there were big problems within the Firewalk studios. I have no idea if this is true, but if it is, it's not surprising that the feedback loop for making the game better was broken. Here's what happens when you have a broken culture and no creative dialogue and no feedback loop. All of your best people leave.
Yeah. And that's the real point that she's getting at. She's like, look, there's this rumor going around that there was problems internally at the company. And the reason that's problematic is because your best people will leave. They will quit. They will not stay at the company. Right? Oh, you're going to put me down because I told, like, who's going to be nicer? The person you've worked with for however long, 6 years, or random people on the internet? Who do you think's going to give you the feedback nicely? The person you like put down, or maybe, just maybe, that colleague that you've worked with for like 6 years. Who's going to be better? Chat, what do you think? Let's take a vote. I'm going to bet on the guy you've worked with for 6 years, or gal. The person you work with, because they're in the trenches with you. They want, well, hopefully they want the best for, the business that they're working at. And they certainly want more than 1,000 concurrents on Steam when the game launches. Like, you have to have feedback pass for people, and you have to allow differing opinions. And there's the creator, the guy who made Fallout. He does this great series, Tim Kaine, I think is his name. And he talks about like having passionate debates in an office, and then people come in, they're like, oh, hey, can you keep it down? You're kind of freaking out the employees. It's like, no, we're creating something cool. Like, we're passionate about the thing. And I've had that once in my career. And that person went on to be like one of my best friends. His name's Mike. And he did a stream with me a few times on my birthday. But those sort of things are really, really special when you have that positive friction, for lack of a better term, where you're butting heads because you both want the thing to be awesome, right? That can be really, really good and positive energy. Blizzard had it to a point, and then I believe there's, like, I'm reading through the book right now, and eventually it goes too far. But like, yeah.
All the best engineers, the best designers, the best artists, they know that they can find another job, even in this tough job market, because they're provably good. They have a reputation. They don't want to waste their time. Then you have your next group, the people that are good but aren't confident or don't want to look for a job. That group simply shuts down. They stop giving feedback. They stop dealing with the people that are making the environment toxic. They know they won't get fired for their work, so they make sure they stay out of the controversy. And now you just have everyone else. You have inexperienced people or people who don't feel afraid expressing their opinions. And those vocal people will start driving the design and the look of the game. And that isn't what you want.
Well, I do think that she highlights just a natural hierarchy in any business. So, I mean, that's sort of natural, but you cannot be shutting down. Like, if you shut down somebody enough times, you know what they're going to start doing? They're going to stop fighting you. Sure, I'll just make whatever thing that I don't like the look of because I've been told to, or like I don't want to fight you anymore. I'll just do whatever you want. Okay, I'll make the thing. And like, is that what you want for your business? You want talented people that just give up?
Want everyone giving feedback and making the game better.
Yes.
We will likely never know exactly what was going on at the studio, but to me it's clear they didn't build a culture of feedback because they didn't make a game the gamers want. Let's take a look at one of the other problems: characters. Creating inspirational characters that people want to play,
Yeah.
this is really critical to the game. I know because we had this exact problem on Gotham City Imposters.
Let's get that blindfold off you. Welcome to Bat's HQ in this shit.
I think
As you
I might have done QA at Monolith. Maybe not Monolith. I did QA at a company, Frozen Codebase, for not Narbacular Drop. One of their video games. I think it was Screw Jumper. And I think they might have become Monolith, and then I think they worked on this. Anyway, sorry. Just sort of...
you know, we are dedicated to honoring Batman's nobility through our words and deeds.
For context, Gotham was a first-person shooter that shipped in early 2012.
I remember this game very well.
Made by the team at Monolith that shipped classics like No One Lives Forever and Fear.
It was popular.
The idea was based off of this clip from the
Okay, no, I didn't work at Monolith. Never mind. I was thinking of something else.
Batman movie.
Don't let me find.
Okay, yeah, we're going to skip this part, but it's the hockey mask part from the Batman flick.
When you look at these wannabe Batman clones, they are average people. They aren't inspiring like Batman,
Yeah.
and that's the point. They're average people cosplaying Batman on the weekend. And it's funny. And this team leaned in to that humor. At that time, we were making the game for young men that like playing first-person shooters. Generally, the age range for this group was around 14 to 24.
I find it interesting that she identifies like our target demographic was young men. I have to wonder, like, what are the demos of video games right now? I'm really curious, sort of like, does it skew male still mostly? Like, there's no denying that a lot of women play games, but like when you're developing a product, is it like 50-50 now? Because she's talking about like 10 years ago, at least 10 years ago. And we know there's more women playing games. Anyway, just an
Gotham
interesting
team
thought.
loved first-person shooters, and they were good at making them. At the same time, they were older. This team had been together for many years, so they knew that they needed to validate their assumptions with real people that would be paying for the game.
Yes.
This is how we found out that we had a problem with our characters. The people that were going to pay for the game didn't feel the characters were inspiring enough.
Yeah.
It turns out that a group of adult game developers who are confident in who they are find it funny to play a fat slob or a skinny guy with a shotgun. Younger players, not so much. And if you think about it, you can see why. I went through awkward stages. There were many times in my life where the last person I would have wanted to play was me in a video.
Yeah. Okay. She is absolutely on fire right now. I don't understand why it seems like everybody has forgotten that video games are a fantasy where you want to play a character that is better than you. At least I do, right? Like it's about fantasy. It's about fantasizing about improving in some way. Like in RPGs, you want to be the cool leader. Like whether you were femship or maleship, you want to be seen as that cool leader who has all the traits that you want, or you're playing the fantasy of playing somebody totally evil that you can't do in real life, or like you would aspire to be more like, or like Ghost of Tsushima, right? You're like, you want to be that samurai. And it's really interesting to hear her say this, like, yeah, Gotham City Imposters didn't hit for us because we made a bunch of like out of shape characters or characters that weren't cool. And I come back to the example of Roadhog. When you look at Roadhog is a character that you could want to be like he's not in great shape. He's overweight, but he has that cool factor. He's a cool bigger guy, or I don't know, he's a hog, or I don't know what he is in Overwatch. But point is, his design's really interesting, right? And I think that was definitely something that likely held back Gotham City Imposters, as we're learning, and also held back Concord.
Video game. At first, it was very difficult for some of the team to hear this feedback. Part of that was because the team was very small, so making a new character was going to be tough.
Yeah.
Also, it's never easy for an artist or creator to hear that there is a problem with their work. It's one of the hardest conversations you can have with a creator. But
yeah, honestly, like, was it hard for me to hear everybody be mad about content that I've made? Like, I've made content in the past that made the whole world mad, basically, or they said that I wasn't doing it right. Yes, it was very hard on me. I'll be totally honest with you, especially when you put like tons of work into something and then it falls on its face, that's hard to hear. You know what I do with that? I improve the next one. I make sure I ask the right questions for the next interview. I make sure I do better prep next time. I effed whatever up, and you try to be better every time you make a mistake. You learn from it and you improve. That is all we can do. I am not a perfect person. I don't talk perfectly. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I know I have these limitations because I am a human being. All I can do is strive to make a better piece of content with every piece of content that I make. And I get it wrong sometimes. That's okay to admit. And that's just from my perspective. You have to have that ability as a creative anything if you hope to improve, right? At least that's my take on it.
Ultimately, you have to find a way to have this conversation.
Yes.
Or you end up with a failed game. You just can't make games without considering who will buy them. You have to appeal to the people that are going to play and love your game. And that brings us to the next problem, the $40 price point.
Oh, yeah.
If you ship something free, you can't change the price later and charge more. It doesn't work. People anchor on that free and they never go back. So maybe that's what Sony was thinking. We had a similar issue with Gotham City Imposters. We didn't feel that Gotham City had enough content to charge $60, so we went out and we asked our target market what they would pay. What we found was that there were basically two price points, free and everything else. From a community standpoint, we felt it would be better to ship Gotham as a free-to-play game because we felt more people would try the game and we'd have more players. As you saw with Concord, if you are a multiplayer-only game and nobody is playing, it dies quickly. Of course, these were early days of free-to-play gaming on consoles and PC. Many gamers didn't like the free-to-play model. I was one of them. I still prefer putting down money, getting a disc, and playing the game forever. That is my preferred purchase. But we weren't making the game for me. We were making the game for our target audience.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Xbox didn't have a free-to-play game at this point.
Okay.
In fact, they had just started experimenting with a game called Happy Wars, which...
Here's the crazy thing about everything that she's saying. Like, yeah, it wasn't around at that time. I remember Gotham City Imposters, and I remember it being positively received when it launched. So even though it was a failure, quote unquote, it did find an audience somewhere.
Shipped in October of 2012. So we were stuck, and that's how we ended up in this in-between stage, which some people didn't like. I thought this review from the Cynical Brit really captured it, and he was very fair with his feedback.
Extra points for that. The debate, I suppose, with a title like this is whether or not it should be a pay-to-play or free-to-play game. And it's weird, the market's in this weird state at the moment where they'll willingly accept Call of Duty and its progression system as a $60 title on a yearly basis, but if you have a similar progression system in anything below $60, people say it should be free. What? I was reading the RPS.
Eventually, Gotham was a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it never recovered. It never got the interest it needed to continue. The leadership that made that game left the company, and WB Games abandoned the title in order to focus on their new franchise, Shadow of Mordor.
I mean, Shadow of Mordor, they developed the new technology. I mean, yeah, eventually you got to let the non-winners go, right? But it is interesting to hear the lessons she learned, and my hope would be that the rest of the industry learns from her mistakes. Or her studio's mistakes.
Any game is really hard. So I give Firewalk Studios a lot of credit for shipping it all. They should be proud of having gotten it out the door.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, I've heard a lot of hate for Concord. I've given it a lot of hate. There were cool things in the game, right? There's stuff that they could hang their hat on and be proud of. Like, I think the animation was good, even though the character models weren't that interesting. Like, the flaws were like storytelling, character design, overall gameplay structure, right? But there are facets within all of that you can take positivity away from, I do think. And the fact that they ever got it out the door is impressive, even after it was 6 years. I just hope this is a big learning lesson for them. And do focus testing for the love of everything. Do focus testing.
Personally, I'm not happy to see them fail. I find the situation sad because from my perspective, it could have been different. I felt the same way about Vanguard when it failed. Sigil and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I had hoped that when they moved back to Sony, a culture they were familiar with, they would fix the game and ship something wonderful. But
yeah, you know, she said it's sad. It's sad that this game came out and, you know, flopped on its face. I think a big reason why I have issue with Concord is because there's a wealth of talent at that company. They made Destiny. There is something to the bones of the game, but like it didn't come together in a way that could have been impactful, or it just didn't work. It did not work. What they released didn't work, but it could have if they had been if they had been willing to listen and adjust, right? I think that is the problem. And I've said, Alex, just say real quick for Concord, I've said publicly that I did not agree with that review. Travis is a good friend of mine. I don't think it was a 7, period.
sadly, that didn't happen. Much about the games industry has changed over the years, but making successful games still requires building a team and a culture where feedback is heard and acted upon.
Yeah.
Every problem on a game is known by someone on the team or the customer.
Yeah. I mean, she's right. You think nobody at the company knew that? Like, I've heard from developers who are like, yeah, we read your review. We've heard it all internally before. Like either the customer's going to know, like they knew loud and clear after that first trailer.
And if you can surface those issues and act upon them, then you're going to make a better game.
Yes.
It's really that simple. Culture matters.
Yeah, she's right. I mean, that's the whole video. Laura Fryer is, it's just really wonderful that she makes these videos. She doesn't put them out that often. I'm going to link to it in chat really quick. But long story short, culture will lead to not great video games at the end of the day. And I do think it is something that I hope more studios look at. Wow, that video did really well for her. It did 136,000 views. That's probably one of her biggest videos. She just released it like the other day. Her channel's she doesn't have a ton of subs, but the Concord one really got picked up by the algo. Yeah, it's a really interesting take. And we talked about why Xbox lost. We reacted to that video from her channel. We talked about Baldur's Gate 3 broke the games industry. I wish I had used that headline for my piece because it's such a good headline. Like, she was an executive producer on a bunch of these games. She's learned from mistakes in the past, and she puts out a lot of compelling content. So go check her stuff out. And yeah, it came out yesterday. 100-something thousand views in a day is really, really good. I got started streaming late because I was moving the shrimp over there. The shrimp are doing good. They're still swimming around a little bit, which means they're stressed because I had to take most of the water out of the tank and then refill it. But I'm going to go spend some time with the family. It has been a little bit of a crazy day. I am looking forward to seeing what Digital Foundry says about the PlayStation 5 Pro. A big shout out to, wow, we had a lot of super chats. So a big shout out to anybody who left a super chat today. That was way more than I ever could have expected. Lotus with the $50. We had we had Aries drop 30 memberships today. We even had a few people become subscribers over on Twitch. Thank you so much for the overwhelming support. Alex, I did see your comment. I read it. I talked a little bit about Concord. Thank you so much for the tip. And Philaroni, everybody. We covered off on everything in the headline today. I had more I want to talk about, like volume 2. And yeah, I got to get out of here though. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I really do appreciate you watching so much. Thank you so much to all of the members. The memberships just keep growing. It's been absolutely crazy. If you like the content that I produce, please consider becoming a member. It just supports the channel and it helps it grow. Click that join button right down there. I really do appreciate you. If you want to see my take about why the PlayStation 5 Pro reveal failed, it is right here. I do appreciate everybody for watching. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.